All right, how's it going today? So this is a video here. This is going to be a 3 or 4 part series on college debt. Okay, but we're going to talk about debt in America, which is a serious issue. Yes, I am a man of the cloth or whatever. Okay, and yeah, I do make podcasts off scriptures, and I don't feel that I need to read a whole bunch of books and tell my life story. All right, like that cat on useful charts or whatever, trying to be a smartass about how to do my podcast and so forth. But this is America. We got some serious issues here, and I just think that faith alone is just not going to cut it. Yes, it's important to keep the scriptures, but you do what you have to do to survive and be able to tackle issues like this, to be able to beat the beast, because all this is strategically set up to keep people in debt and working for 40 to 50 years before you could even get your social security, and you may die before the fact. So I'll talk the rest. I'll do a epilogue on this. So let's get right into it. Okay. So this has not always been this way. For a while, college was meant for people like doctors, lawyers. If you were like some type of tax CPA, uh, a lot of that stuff was like aristocratic. Okay, but it became like kind of like in the school structure around. Let me see here, if my memory serves me right, about the late 1800s, 1890s with the public school system and all that. Okay, it actually started during the market era, but college, okay, it started becoming more like kind of like in the degree program. Okay, again, unless you were probably like a doctor, lawyer, uh, that type of thing. Okay, then you went to college. Okay, but again, all that stuff was aristocratic, but you had to start paying to get it, and everybody did not, were not fortunate. It was people of high class. All right, but the way it started is in 1944, the government started giving money to military soldiers in World War II, you know, for the GI Bill. Okay, that's was when we had a surplus and when the dollar was on gold standard. Okay, 1958. All right, President Eisenhower signed the Defensive Act giving loans for schools. Okay, to help you out with school. In 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson, as part of the Great Society, signed for Pell Grants. Okay, to help students get into school and all that. But the community college was just starting to start around that time, the late 60s, early 70s. So it was actually giving people maybe a chance maybe to do things like get an associate degree, okay, that type of thing, maybe help out minorities that were, uh, you know, were kind of like you made a less than a certain amount, maybe like I'm giving an example like 25,000, okay. 1980, around that time, okay, a lot of that responsibility was shifted to parents taking out loans for their children. And then 2006, they had a grad school. I didn't even know this, okay, that they started doing the government allowed grad student loans, and you could take out 100%. And I think this is the problem, where the problem was starting to start right here. Because in 2008, we started becoming in a recession, okay? Let's see here. College debt had doubled over the last, I believe it probably quadrupled now over the last 30 years, 30, 40 years. Okay. So it's the debt. Let me see here. In 2010, 2008. Let's see here. The government cut the loan funding, okay, a lot of that funding, and gave a lot of responsibility to the parents, because they feel like these parents, they've been making all that money during, the baby boomer generation, so they could put their kids through school. Okay. So at the time, the economy, was strong before it hit that dot-com bust. Okay. So in let's put it like this. A degree now is $40,000. Okay. But in 2008, this is when you started seeing the increase in school loans, okay, which was $880 billion in 2008 at the beginning of the recession because people couldn't pay it back because people lost jobs. 2010, that's when it went up to $1 trillion. And now it was announced in 2022 that it's $1.7 billion. Okay? So 45 million people are in debt, college debt. That's 1 in 5. The average loan debt is $39,300. Okay, that's a lot of money. People want $40,000. It's more than that. If you got a grad school, you're probably $50,000, $60,000. In 1960, my mother graduated at Tennessee State in 1968. Paid like $3,000 for her degree. Now, again, these degrees are like $40,000. Okay, so I'm trying to think of some other. So as a result, which is not going to help, Joe Biden, all right, president, wants to give a forgiveness program of over of 10,000 if you make 125,000 a year. Now, some companies are canceling some of the school debt. I do know the military sometimes that they do programs that'll cancel some of you'll pay off their school debt and so forth. But now some companies are doing that, and the loan forgiveness program is to forgive 10,000, but interest rates has went up, y'all. Okay, so this $10,000 is not really going to do any good, and it's going to probably get extended probably to like February. And what that's going to do is it just gives a boost just for Christmas. Okay, so I believe that it's kind of a hope. It helps, but it really doesn't help. Okay, but here's the truth on that. Now I'm gonna let y'all go. The truth on this is if the dollar was on gold standard, which was taken off in 1971, America could have had enough money to pay off all the school debt. You understand? All right. The reason why that people can't is because of number one, the economy, jobs ain't paying as good as they used to. American lifestyle, which Americans they want too much, and then the dollar standard, okay, which is only half. The dollar gold standard, okay, because there's no gold to back it up, and that's the truth on what I just said, okay. And you guys are going to have to make sacrifices to try to pay some of this loan off or file for bankruptcy, Chapter 7 if you need to. Now it's going to be on your report for 7 to 10 years, okay, but only you can take care of you in the end of the day. All right, but I don't think that this loan forgiveness is really going to help out a lot. It's just going to, number one, create like a stimulus for Christmas. But colleges are going to raise the tuition because they know this. Remember one thing, and I'm gonna let you go. All right, this is all systematically set between the feds and these colleges to keep you or your children in debt. And instead of these 4-year universities, you need to put your kids through trade school. I made a video about that, okay? Nursing, plumbing, community college where you can save thousands of dollars. All right, any type of trade school, automotive, okay, that you could come out and you could get yourself a job, okay, instead of spending $100,000 on some of these colleges, room and board and tuition, and can't get a job. And that's the truth, and that's the solution. Now, stay tuned. I'm gonna do another video on just how did we get so far in debt, okay? And thank you for your time.